For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomenon in our own backyard. We will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
All right. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. It's great to have you guys here tonight. Tonight we're talking about after-death communication. It's the most profound type of contact that we can have with the other side. We've talked about ghost shows in the past, the idea of looking for spirits and things like that. This is different. We're talking about spirits that are the people closest to us, direct family members, parents, siblings, and of course children, which is the most heart-wrenching. Want to say hello, of course, to our crew tonight. Matt, Andrew, how are you guys tonight?
Howdy, Jeff.
Excellent, Commander.
Good. Did you have a good ghost hunt at the Slater Mill?
Excellent.
Yeah. Had some interesting things happen in the wheel room.
Really? What happened?
It was as if we were following a electromagnetic field around the room that we could never put in one location.
Interesting.
And what was really interesting is I was in the room above him in the machine shop, and we kept getting the same thing.
Huh. Very cool. Well, good news. In a couple of weeks, we're going to play our episode that was filmed live at the Slater Mill. Have to check in with our communications officer, Sarah. How are you this evening?
I'm great.
Good. I heard maybe we got some interesting email this week?
We did indeed.
Bumper! Oh!
Perhaps.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Yeah, we're working on that. Okay, so yes, we did get an email and a photo this week from Al Stover, who wrote, "My cat Chaz loves 30-odd minutes," and he sent us the proof. It's pretty cute.
Check it out.
If we can check it out. Yeah, he's
There's
watching it on his iPhone.
That's Chip Coffee on the iPhone. Well done, Chaz.
Yeah, so thank you, Chaz.
Thank you so much.
We'll take animal fans, too.
Yeah, right. We need all we can get.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be checking back in with Sarah a little bit later, but we talked about loss, and this is a very profound thing. But what about, we're not talking about psychic ability in regard to contact, although I'm sure that plays a role. But Matt Moniz, tell us, you actually experienced something with your mother after she passed. What happened?
Yeah, the day that my mother passed, she passed at about roughly 9 o'clock in the morning on September the 3rd in 2001. And later on that afternoon, when I got home, one of my friends, Greg, and his girlfriend met me on top of my porch. And I was explaining to them that my mother had just died, and that when I had told them that my phone rang, and it had a weird, let's just call it a series of numbers and whatever gibberish on the ID. I opened it up, and I said hello, and voice came back to me over the earpiece saying, "Hey Mac, I'm okay." Wow. And then it just stopped.
And it was your mother's voice?
Yeah. Now she called me Mac. Mac Attack was her little nickname for me. So that's one way I knew it was not just somebody randomly calling, because that was a name that she just used with me.
Wow.
So.
Incredible. Man, thank you for sharing that story.
No
I
problem.
think we all have some contact with someone that we love, and it means so much to us, that contact. We keep that forever. I remember after my grandfather died, I got a sign. My sign was very subtle. He always honked his horn and honked at every little thing. And when he died, I went back to my apartment in New Haven, Connecticut, and I said, "Just give me some kind of sign you're still with me." And I heard meep meep right outside, and I was laughing and crying at the same time. And now a car horn in New Haven is no anomaly, but at that moment, I still feel like that was my sign. But tonight we're talking about that contact. Many of you may recognize this device. This is the Mel 8704 meter. It's a combination EMF meter and digital thermometer. You've seen it on many ghost hunting shows and maybe even in your own investigations. But what you might not know is the remarkable story behind it. We're going to get to that tonight. In September of 2004, 17-year-old Melissa Galka was driving home from a party late at night when she hit a tree at a high rate of speed. Toxicology reports would later show there were no drugs or alcohol in her system. It was just a horrible accident. After being alerted by a friend, Melissa's father, Gary, rushed to the scene of the accident and held his daughter's hand while rescuers used the jaws of life to cut the car away from around her. At the hospital, the family's hopes were high, but doctors saw that Melissa's brain had suffered too much trauma and she would not survive. On September 28, 2004, the Galka family made the heart-wrenching decision to take Melissa off of life support and let her go. But death was not the end, as our guest tonight will tell you. Recently, the Galka family shared their powerful story on an episode of Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel. Tonight, Gary is joining us on the mothership to share his story of after-death communication and share some of the profound examples of contact with Melissa that he's recorded. Please welcome, live from Connecticut, Gary Galka. Gary, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jeff. It's nice to be here.
Really appreciate you doing this. Let's get into this. How soon after Melissa's accident, after she passed, did you feel you had contact?
Well, you know, it was almost within just a very short period of time. You have to understand that we had just left the hospital as a family. By the time that we returned home, we already started to smell her scent as we walked from the car into the house.
Wow. And were there any other signs besides smells? Did she move something? Did you hear any voices or anything like that?
You know, I wish I had, but, you know, at that point in time, it was just the beginning of this big journey that we've been on for the past 7.5 years. We walked into the house, you know, we were all still in a very heavy state of complex misunderstanding of what's happening in our lives. You're just dealing with a huge cloud or shroud around you, and you just can't think clearly. And you know, my 2 daughters, my wife and I, we went into the house, and within the next few hours, we encountered several electronic phenomena that I would deem appropriately as calling after-death communication. The after-death communication consisted of the doorbell started to ring. Later on that evening, the television turned on and off by itself, and also the television channel actually changed from one channel to the next.
Wow. And I mean, it's looking back. Did you have a moment where you said, okay, wait a minute, she's still here. She's absolutely here with us.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we had high hopes. You have to understand, Jeff, I was coming from a point in my life where I didn't know anything about, you know, death or paranormal or any of those things. My mom had just passed 6 months before Melissa, so I was having a very difficult time juggling the grief from my mom, and then I had to start multitasking the grief, and that was a very difficult position for me at that time.
Oh, God, I can't even imagine. I'm also a dad, and like I told you before, I know what you had, and there's no way I can imagine what you lost, you know, also being a father. And it's and the grieving process is something we're gonna touch on a little more tonight. But talk about Melissa's life real quickly. I know she's just, I mean, we've got some great photos that you sent us. Melissa at her prom, and just seems like such a kid with a lot of life in her.
Oh, for sure. You know, here you're looking at a picture of her going to a senior prom with her boyfriend, Ben. And actually, you know, they had been dating for a couple of years. And Melissa was full of energy. You know, she was, anything that we decided to do, she seemed to excel at it. You know, we spent a lot of our summers up at a lake, and she mastered wakeboarding. She would pick up swinging a golf club and hit 200 yards on the 3rd try. She was a level 9 gymnast, so her abilities to excel as an athlete, she had all that. She did track and all those other things in high school, so she was a well-rounded teenager.
Yeah, it looks like she had a lot of friends, and I know, you know, we've talked about how the whole town shut down. You know, here she is with some of her friends. Just the whole town just kind of shut down for her funeral, because she just meant so much to the school and the community, and that's. I know it's small comfort when you're going through such a loss like that, but still, you have to be proud of that as well.
I'm always proud of my children, each and every one of them, and it's always been my dream, okay, to have a really tight family bond growing up. And I think we had that, and we still have that same bond to this day, that same love of family. And I've always told Melissa, family is forever. You know, when she was going through those difficult times as a young teenager, I would say, hey, you know what? Friends will come and go, but family's forever.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so tell us now a little bit. You were watching a ghost show one night, right? And you saw an EMF meter, and this is what sparked your interest, correct?
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty good, but you have to understand that my wife and I had been providing a lot of support to other bereaved parents. Once we started to get those ADCs from Mel, we started to accelerate our healing process. It became very, very quick. So we wanted to reach out to other parents. One of the ways I did that was I noticed on some of the paranormal shows that people were improvising things that they were buying commercially. And I began to think, well, how could I perhaps come up with something that could be applied in that sense so that these paranormal enthusiasts could enjoy something and get something more out of it. And the Mel meter came to mind, but only came to mind because I looked at it as a means of creating revenue that could help support a number of charity groups that we help each and every month through our business.
Right, understood. And now, so tell us, why do you think the Mel meter works? Why do you think this can contact spirits?
Well, I don't look at the Mel meter necessarily as a way of contacting spirits. I never have.
Okay.
I look at it, it's a scientifically built instrument. The calibration of the instrument is actually traceable to NIST, which is a national standard. So everything is calibrated very, very precisely. This is a type of instrument that would be used typically in a commercial or an industrial sense. But it's being applied in a very unique capacity, and that is to help all of us learn and understand certain things that have yet to be discovered.
Okay. So now, at what point do you start experimenting with EVP and your daughter, which is quite a thing? I mean, we go into haunted buildings all the time, and we're trying to make contact, but it's not that personal. At what point do you make that leap?
Well, you know, I actually became fascinated with EVPs a few years back when I met you for the first time on the Queen Mary.
Oh, okay.
And spent some time with Chris Fleming in the cargo hold, and we were capturing men responding almost to every question. So it was at that point in time that I informed Chris that I was working on a special recorder that would not only record the data, but simultaneously extract that file and play it back so that we can have an intelligent dialogue with the spiritual entities in real time, so as to, it could help guide us through a number of our approaches, the questions that we ask, the responses. You want to be able to engage spirit as clearly and as concisely as possible.
Right.
And so I became fascinated with that about 3 years ago, and we started to come up with the RT EVP. And my first EVPs with Mel were about 2 years ago.
And we actually have an example of that. We're going to play one right now. This first one, let's play it, and then we'll talk about it, and we can play it again.
Okay,
take a
please.
Listen.
Melissa, can you hear me? Can you hear me speaking to you? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Wow, it's pretty clear. You can hear a female voice behind. Let's play it again. We'll put the text up on the screen for you. Take a listen again.
Melissa, can you hear me? Can you hear me speaking to you? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Wow. I mean, after you speak the second time, you can hear, I can, that faint voice. What did you think when you heard that voice?
Well, that's interesting because that's my first EVP ever captured with Melissa. And I was...
You hear her voice, and I mean, what goes through your head, your heart?
Well, unfortunately, at that point in time, I was playing around and testing some new software, and I didn't have the real-time playback activated. And so what I heard was basically exactly what you did after I loaded it onto the computer and analyzed the file. I was shocked. I was pleased. I was elated to hear my daughter's voice, no doubt about it.
And then I know you start asking her a series of questions. We have another one here that's, you ask a great question. You know, do you still celebrate the holidays? Let's take a listen to this one.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
Now, this one has been altered, right, Gary? What did you do to the audio file on this one?
Well, all I did was I did a little spectral subtraction of the noise, and I have to explain to your audience, I was in the kitchen cooking Cajun shrimp at the time. Okay. So what happened was I was chopping onions and peppers and things, and I felt compelled to get the recorder and put it on the kitchen counter because I felt her presence. And so I asked a whole series of questions, and I said, you know, if you're going to speak to me, you better speak loud enough so I can hear you. But I actually had to cut out some of the chopping sounds with the onion and everything else.
Okay.
Sounds funny, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, we've talked on other shows about the idea of white noise and things like that, helping to enhance these kind of things. But I mean, an incredible thing to even recognize the voice. We're not talking about some phantom, ghost thing. We're talking about your daughter, and the communication just gets amplified from here. Gary, we're going to take a quick break for our news, and then we're going to come back and we're going to hear a lot more about your experience with Ghost Adventures, hear some more amazing clips, and we'll be right back after this.
On April 24, 2012, a camera at NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory captured an image of the sun which shows an anomaly that has some people wondering. Many ufologists feel strongly that the object is a large extraterrestrial craft or space station parked close to the planet Mercury. However, Nathan Rich, a scientist with the Naval Research Laboratory, is certain the anomaly is the result of streaks created by the camera's CCD sensor being impacted by energetic particles. Proponents of the alien craft theory believe that recent solar winds may have caused the object to become visible after losing its ability to cloak itself from our view. Shields up, Scotty. Closer to home, there has been some more amazing UFO activity caught on video. From April 9th to the 11th, many people reported seeing strange balls of light in the night sky over St. Petersburg, Russia. One such object was seen in the airspace above the city's Bakovo airport. Officials there were worried that the strange sphere posed a threat to aircraft landing and taking off. But before any action could be taken, the UFO vanished. Sergei Smirnov, a scientist at the Bakovo Observatory just outside St. Petersburg, voiced his opinion on how the extraterrestrials piloting these vehicles possibly look at us here on Earth. Quote, "Aliens look at us as if we are idiots, undeveloped people. Perhaps they have fenced us in with their own sort of screen for the whole galaxy and are sending warnings to hundreds of billions of stars that the civilization near the dwarf star, which we call the sun, is dangerous." I couldn't have said it any better, Sergey. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Andrew, with the news. UFOs making the news this week. There's always something, isn't there? Always something popping up. All right, we're back with Gary Galka, the creator of the Mel meter, and of course the amazing tale behind it. Gary, we have with us our own Sarah Coombs, who is a psychotherapist, and if you don't have one on your staff, I recommend you get one because they're good to have around. Sarah, you've talked to people about loss before. Tell us about the process of loss and how we cope with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously complicated. It's on the scale of things that a human being can experience in a lifetime. Losing a child is right at the top. It's number one. So with that, obviously, comes a huge grieving process and a search to kind of fill that gap of where that family member left in your life. And of course, you're not going to fill it with the family member. So instead, you try to find meaning and fill that gap with meaning. And it's going to be, you basically have to rely on like very non-physical means to do that and in a way to heal. And the biggest thing to remember is there is no time limit on healing. It can take some people, a few months. It can take some people years. And how they do that is really a personal journey for them. Really, the important thing is to surround yourself with people who are very open and accepting of any emotion that comes up for you. They can contain it, like hold it for you, but not try to fix you, not try to hurry this process along, and allow you to express that loss. And so a lot of people will often try to find a way to express that through means such as writing books, writing journals, creating art, building something. Like the Mel meter, the perfect illustration of using a talent that you had in a way that could find meaning and also reconnect with your daughter in a non-physical way. It's a perfect illustration of that, and I think it really was a way for you to tie your heart, your mind, and your spirit and channel that energy in a way that kind of created that for you. And that was all, I mean, a way to heal and move past that. So.
Very cool. Gary, tell us, how has you know, using this equipment, getting these EVPs from your daughter, how has that helped you through the grieving process?
Well, it's helped our whole family immensely, Jeff. We, you know, it's because of that you find that acceptance. We're all searching for some level of acceptance so that we can move forward with our life. And the quicker you can find that acceptance, the easier it is for you then to reach out and help other people who are having higher difficulty than you are to find that same level. So for me, all of those different things that have happened have put us into a better position where we can look around us and then try to find others and reach towards them in order to help them move forward and take that small step and get to that same point in life that we're at now.
That's awesome. And as Sarah said, it's such an individual thing. Everybody's unique in that way. So now, Gary, recently your entire family was on an episode of Ghost Adventures. You invited the show in on Valentine's Day, which of course is a significant day. It's Melissa's birthday, born on Valentine's Day. And you know, talk to us about that. Talk to us about you know, what that was like. We actually have a photo here of the birthday celebration. There it is. And you know.
Okay. Yeah, actually what happened, Jeff, is, you know, over the past few years, I've gotten to know Zach and Aaron and Nick pretty good. I know how they operate. I know how sincere and how dedicated they are to what they do. So I called up Zach and I said, Zach, how would you like a unique opportunity to talk with Melissa? You use her equipment. How would you like to talk to her on her birthday? And we decided that we would pursue this with the one theme, which was to be able to reach out and help other bereaved parents. There was no other reason for doing this except for to help other people understand and realize that there's more to life than what we can see with our eyes.
Right. Now, Gary, you know I've been working on the show Ghost Adventures since the beginning, and I can tell you, yes, in 80-some-odd episodes that we've done, I can't recall feedback on a show anywhere near your episode. It's been overwhelming. Everything I've seen has been so positive. Talk to us about what you've experienced since it aired, which just a few weeks ago now.
It's been a truly remarkable response. At a personal level, we've received handwritten letters from people in all walks of life. Handwritten letters, 2 or 3 pages, pictures of the person, a little story about their own personal experiences, people who have lost children who are reaching out to us just for some guidance and assistance in that respect. They see us, and I guess the biggest thing that I'm most proud of is that somehow we've inspired these people to be able to pick themselves up and have some sense of hope for a better tomorrow. And that's really what it all comes down to. Right. Cards and letters, emails, we've had them all, Jeff, and it's been wonderful. And believe it or not, I've tried to answer each and every one of them to the best of my ability.
That's amazing. We have a couple here. We've got a couple of highlights. Sarah, why don't you read us a couple of clips here?
Man. Yeah, we got a ton, and they were difficult to read, actually, beforehand. So one, it says, I don't normally write such letters, but I was moved by your grief and loss to the point of being brought to tears. For whatever reason, I was drawn to making an attempt to contact you. I was touched by your grief, along with the strong bond that you not only still have with Melissa, but the love that exists for those that remain behind. The faith that you and your wife hold, along with the love that is so apparent between the both of you, ensures that Melissa will live on in your heart and mind. That one's from Fred. And then I have another one that says, I have to thank you for sharing your family's story with us. Besides paranormal investigating, I too have a family and children that I just love and adore to no end. While watching that episode, it was emotionally hard not to think about what my life would be like if she was gone. My prayers and support go out to you and your family always. Thank you also for cementing in my mind, once and for all, that one day we will all be reunited with our loved ones again on the other side.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's so amazing how inspirational this show was to so many people. Inspirational in even an artistic way. And you first alerted me to this. We reached out to the artist today, and fortunately, an R&B singer from Chicago named J.R. King wrote a song. We can actually play it for you. Take a listen. That's amazing. Mel's smile. He was so inspired, so moved by your story on Ghost Adventures. He wrote a song, and I remember the first time I heard it, I went, that's real music. This isn't some guy in his basement just tooling around. He was really moved. And I had an email exchange with him today, and I said, we'd really like to play this tonight. And he said, absolutely. And I said, we want to put your name up. And he said, it's not about promotion. I was so moved. This is from the heart. And your story resonates with people, Gary. It really does. So let's talk about Ghost Adventures. A lot of people saw the episode, but there's plenty of clips that people didn't get to hear. There's a few that really were impressive to me. Eric, if you could bring up number 6, where now this is using a device called an SB7, a spirit box, which is, can you quickly explain, Gary, what is the SB7?
Sure. The SB7 is basically a frequency sweep device. It sweeps through the FM spectrum from 76 megahertz to 108 megahertz with adjustable sweep intervals. It can sweep as quickly as 100 milliseconds per step, which is approximately 10 frequencies or 10 radio stations per second.
Wow. And
you can adjust it anywhere you want. So that's why when you catch something on there, you're literally going through a dozen radio stations and you're getting full sentences in many cases.
And so to get a full sentence out of all that noise was remarkable. So real quick, let's listen to number 6 with Gary and his wife Cindy.
Mel, are you here, honey?
You can hear the hi, Mom.
Did you just say hi, Mom? Is that you, Mel?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom, right there. That's amazing.
Sounds like your voice, sweetheart. Is that you?
Incredible stuff. You can hear right after you said, "Did you just say hi, Mom?" Hi, Mom. That's so incredible. Now, God, we're running out of time. Now, during the Ghost Adventures episode, there was a moment where the batteries, brand new batteries, these guys charge everything up right before they go, were drained. And I believe this is Nick's voice, right, Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Mel, did you drain the batteries in the camera?
You heard it at the end.
Jeff, that's actually me speaking to Melissa.
Right.
And that's me speaking and asking Melissa. I said, did you drain the batteries in the camera, in Nick's camera? Correct. And but you have to understand that Melissa started draining the batteries from the moment we sat down to have an interview. And that was on Sunday. So from Sunday and Tuesday, she drained a total of 5 camera batteries.
Wow. And those things last hours. Seriously, these are no joke. Real quick, let's play the last one. This was also during a Spirit Box session.
Mel, did I bump into that, or did you move that?
It's me. Right there, you can hear it. Gary, we only have seconds left, but kind of a closing question is, do you think this communication is for everybody? At what point should a grieving parent try to reach out to their lost child?
Well, I think that, as it was said earlier, we each move on at a certain pace. You have to reach a certain point in your life when you're ready to take this kind of a step. And once you do, then you have to also have a lot of patience, because it doesn't happen overnight. I've been very fortunate and blessed in that sense, but right now you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, understood. Gary Galka, thank you for sharing your story yet again with our audience, for showing us some clips. Let us listen to some clips that we didn't get to hear before. Incredible stuff. Folks, thank you all for listening. Until next time, please do stay odd.
Mom.